What's going on, everybody? Yep. I'm back. Honestly, just been taking a lot of Zoom meetings. I jumped straight into that. Just been taking a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of emails, some phone calls, lots of Netflix. Been playing some Call of Duty. You can see here. And yes, this is a donation bag from the Goodwill because I have some starter plants right here. I'm also going to get a little garden going. So those cups were sitting on this thing and I just didn't care to move everything enough. So I just slid that off to the side. Anyway, with all that said, I've got lots of stuff here. Some stuff you're probably very familiar with. Some stuff you may not be. But let's just talk about this stuff real quick, and then we'll see where things kind of go. Let's start this way. So, like I said, been at the house, been just working around the house. You already know if I'm working around the house, doing anything where I can carry a strider, it's probably going to be this one in my pocket. Nothing has changed. I've had this knife in my pocket. I'd say at least if I've been home about a month, it might be more than that, but if I've been home about a month, I probably had this in my pocket at least half of that time. So this is still getting tons of pocket carry. And if you're not familiar with what this is my Strider S&G in Z-Wear. I've had this a long time, probably 8 years or something like that. Never been into the shop. Has always functioned for me. I've always said that if I had to have just one knife, if it came down to it, I had to sell everything off. This would be that knife that stuck around. And it's not because it's the best cutter. It's not because of any reason that anybody's going to say this is not a good knife. This is the tool that I've used for years and years, and I've already told all the different things I've done with this knife, and that has just served me without fail. No issues whatsoever. It does heavier tasks the way I need them done. It does, medium to medium light tasks the way I need to get them done. So I'm completely happy with that, and that is what has been in my pocket most of the time I have been home from work. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about these two things here. This right here, this is a Leatherman Squirt PS4. It is still in the box. It is still in the box because this is one of about at least 4 things right now that I'm going to give away, which this is another one. This is an Artemis Carry wallet from my buddy Matt down in Florida. Check him out, Artemis Carry on Instagram. Put in the order. No, I'm not sponsored by any of these people here. But what I wanted to do, since we are out of work, since I have experienced some kindness here recently, and I should have grabbed that stuff. Anyway, I wanted to not only support some small American businesses in the sense of people like Matt. I also wanted to support some American businesses like Leatherman, and I wanted to do a giveaway that would give back to people that for one reason or another, they've been impacted by this whole situation and they haven't been able to go to work, or they've even lost their jobs. So it supports on both ends. Not only am I buying products from American manufacturers or small business owners that are in similar situations to yourself and kind of helping to stimulate their economic growth, but I'm also giving back to people that have suffered because of everything that's going on right now. So I do have a few more things coming in, details to come on that. Next up, this is just a cool little patch from Dumpbox. I'm sure you guys, again, with everything that's going on, you've had the same experience I've had with toilet paper everywhere you go. Up until fairly recently, it has just been pretty much non-existent. So this is just a cool little PVC decal, like a Ranger Eye type deal. So I thought that was pretty cool. I did pull this out the other day. If you don't know what this is my Hogue EX-01 in 154 cm steel. You can see the model there. This also is another American-made knife. It is in 154 cm, and like I said, it is a Hogue product. This is the 4-inch version. You can see I did a couple of videos on this knife already. It's held up extremely well. This is a very good competitor in my opinion if you're looking for a 4-inch aluminum handled knife that's made in America, to the Microtech SOCOM or SOCOM Elite. I think this is an excellent knife to compare. Not only is it very similar, it does have a different locking mechanism. This does only come in the 154 cm. The SOCOM comes in a variety of steels. However, if we're talking steel, Hogue does take a little more care in the processing of their steel, like the hand finishing and things that go into the knife, things of that sort. Whereas we've seen that Microtech, they tend to run their steels a little bit softer and they process them a little bit more to what's standard for the industry. And this knife is also cheaper. Microtech SOCOM is like $250. This knife is like $180. So there's also that. So anyway, the last thing I did to this knife, and I need to edit the video, just in case you guys were wondering, I did sharpen this knife on my whetstone. You can tell, especially here, by that ugly spot right here. I don't know if that was me. I mean, clearly I know there are two different angles. You can see this bevel's much smaller than this one. I know that's a me thing, not a knife thing, but it sharpened up pretty well. Honestly, I sharpened a CRK Impinda right after I did this knife, and that CRK Impinda, it was more crisp. The apex was cleaner. The knife was sharper off of the same stone through the same process, with the same about the same amount of time put in to sharpen both. Once I got the angle down, I did struggle a little bit to get the angle, and some of that was due to the portion up here and also having to kind of grind back this shoulder a little bit at the tip. So that was something that I'll kind of keep an eye on, because as we know, one of the things we've talked about before, steels that tend to be processed a little bit better, you'll see that come through when you sharpen a knife on how crisp and clean the apex is once it comes off of a stone. And if you don't know what that means, basically how sharp does it feel once it comes off of even a lower grit stone? How easy does that burr come off of the knife's edge? Is there a large burr that's formed? Is there a smaller burr that's formed, etc., etc.? So I've been enjoying this knife a lot. This is going to go in my pocket a little bit more to probably complement this knife some. And last but not least, excuse me, I did buy a couple of things while I've been off. Not everything for me. Like I said, I'm trying to pick up a lot of things for you all, but I got an awesome deal on this Kwaiken. I cannot remember the screen name of the guy I bought this from. Should have thought about that before I did it, but this is an Emerson Kwaiken. This is not from the very recent run that just came out, but this is from the run before that, to the best of my knowledge. He gave me, his name is Sam something. He gave me an awesome deal on this knife. Bought it for $130. Again, I'm always telling you guys, Emerson, Hinder, CRK, etc. Look on the secondary because the deals are out there. I just posted on my Instagram channel today in the story. And if you hear my dog drinking, he loves to do that when I start shooting a video. Sorry about that. But I just posted on my Instagram channel today a thread from Facebook where there was a large Sabenza 21, a pretty good condition, going for $300. So the used market is definitely the place to look. A lot of people have been asking how I like the knife. I like the knife. This has one of the benefits that I like from the Strider SA, which is that constant belly. So when you're cutting, you just have constant edge being presented to what you're cutting. And that is part of the design of this specific knife, because this is a katana, and obviously we know katanas were meant to cut, not necessarily EDC items either, like we use these for. But the lockup, even though it's been used, is good. There is no stick on this one. Hold, let me shut up so you can hear. There is no stick on this one. The blade is centered. You can see there. The D10 is good. You can pop it right out. The knife does drop down. I know that's a thing for some guys. I do have a peat gray Zerk monster thumb disc on this knife. It did make a little bit of a difference, but it didn't make enough of a difference like on an A100 that I would say it's a must-have on this type of knife. The only thing, kind of changing gears, the only thing that I would probably change about this knife if I could, and I would do this with a lot of Emersons, I don't necessarily need a wave. I can't tell you the last time I used a wave, but I know some guys do, so I'm not knocking it. But I don't know. I need to find a good way to remove these waves and be able to clean it up so it doesn't look too ugly. As if a lot of you guys know, I'm not a big mod guy, but things like this, sometimes I will, you know, have them done just because it hinders a little bit of me enjoying the knife. Is it a huge issue? Do I know how to use an Emerson without it deploying when I pull it out of my pocket? Absolutely. But it just, look how much more sleek this would look if that wasn't there. I mean, this is just a sleek looking knife, and without that wave, it would just be that much more sleek. So that's pretty much everything I had. I know I talked to Sharp Thinking, Elliot, and he wants me to do a video on the top 5 American-made knives, what my top 5 American-made knives would be. So look for that to come. I don't know when I'll shoot that. It'll probably be sometime this week. I am not going to try to delay as much as I have before. I guess that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Yeah. A lazy man carries a dull knife. Oh, and one more thing. Don't be a dumb person with a smartphone.